welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for being here. And if you are returning, thank you for coming back. My name is Tracy and this is my art channel. So if you saw my second to last video, it was the first video of my 3-part little mini series, and we did a beautiful straight / galaxy pour using a rainbow of colors that were thick paint. We're going to be using the exact same paints that we used in the first video, but in this one, not only are we going to be thinning those down and me showing you the products that I use to thin these paints down to keep them from breaking apart by thinning them, but we're also going to be mixing some of these paints to make different colors, because where the first one I did a straight galaxy pour, now we're going to be doing a landscape swipe. So those paints need to be much thinner. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I thin down a couple of them. One that is a very highly pigmented paint versus one that is not quite as pigmented. So it's going to need a little extra doctoring. I'll show you how I do that, and then I'll show you how I made one of these colors. As you can see, I've been playing and experimenting, and I have just these little like palette trays. So what I did is I started taking little bits of each color, and say I wanted to make sand, because we're again doing a landscape swipe. And if you look at these colors, all the pink and the blue and the greens, there's no sand color here. And again, the whole purpose of this is to use these same paints for 3 totally different techniques. So I just play, and then I label them, and I do little swatches, you know, on just a cheap little canvas, and then I write down what I actually mix together in order to get these colors. So maybe I'll do a longer video later on showing how you can make just about any color you want based on a certain color palette, but that's not the premise of this video, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with that. The only thing that I am bringing into this that aren't these colors are just some slop buckets of paint. And slop bucket, if you don't know by now, it's just your table scrapings, and I kind of put, you know, light colors together in buckets, and I use that for either flow extender or a base coat. In this particular situation, it's going to be my base coat. Alrighty, we are back, or I'm back. Like I said in my last video for the mini series, I always say we, but again, it is just me, so overlook that. All right, all of these paints over here, again, are my original paints that we used in the first video. I just poured some into these little cups, and I went ahead and thinned these down. If you can see with this one, probably not, but I'll show you on these two. I left these two specifically to show you how I do it, because one is a craft paint, so it's not nearly the quality or high pigment as this one, which is golden paint. So this one is going to take more water, but not as much binder and the other products that I'm going to be using in order to thin these down. Whoa, just about knocked it over. This one is going to take more binder and less water. So reason I'm saying all that is normally when I'm mixing up my paints to do a swipe or, you know, any of the techniques that require thinner paints, normally I do Floetrol and equal amounts of Liquitex pouring medium, the one with the gray label. And I just have these big jugs out to show you how they come, but then I always put them in smaller squeeze bottles just to make life easier. So I normally do 50-50 of that, and then a big squirt of GAC 800. you know, they work as binding agents to keep from cracking and crazing of your paints. Well, because these were already mixed up with just Floetrol, I'm not going to use 50% of anything else because I've taken them from their original container into here. So there's no way of me really calculating exactly what 50% is. Hope I'm making sense. So stick with me. For the golden, again, I'm not going to need as much of the binder or the, you know, the GAC 800 or the Liquitex, but I will need more water. So I just put like a big squirt of that, and then a little squirt of that. And then I stir very, very, very well. And I feel like I have said this so many times through these two videos, but I'm just still stressing how thick these paints originally were. But when you use these products to thin down your paint, sometimes you don't need water. Like, I'll be surprised if this one needs much water at all. This one is going to need water. Oh, can y'all see? I hope you can, because it's still thicker than I would want. Now, I can always go and do more squirts, but I'm going to need water. So what I do is you only want to add little bits at a time, because you don't want to end up going the opposite direction and now your paints are too thin. I'll speed this part up really quick. See if y'all can, of course I chose dark colors for you to see, but I'm going to add a little bit more water. I may have to end up putting this in a bigger cup, but hopefully not. All right, I'll speed this part up for you again. All right, let's check it again. All right, so that's what I'm wanting. It leaves a little tiny mound, but then y'all are not going to be able to see this. You'll be able to see the other color better. But it leaves a little tiny mound and then quickly goes away. All right, so for this one, again, because it was a DecoArt craft paint, again, you can see where we're starting, hopefully. I'm having to stretch so far, it's hard for me to see if y'all are seeing where I'm dropping this. All right, so again, we're going to need a little bit more of these products in order to keep our paints from breaking down. So I added probably twice as much of the Liquitex that I did in the golden and twice as much GAC. Still not a huge amount, but you just need those binders to keep everything held together when you're thinning these paints down this much. Because if I just poured water in this paint and just having it mixed with Floetrol as thin as I want to make them, especially eventually, it's just going to break apart and possibly crack. All right. I'll show you. I'll just put a tiny little bit of water, but I don't need much. So that was probably not even a half a teaspoon. Make sure you stir around your edges, your side, wipe your stick off. All right, let's check it again. Okay, that's where I want it. Again, leaves a little tiny mound, but quickly goes away. All right, so real quick, I'm going to go over how I make a color, because like with this one, this is just, you know, the QNAG that I started with, and that FolkArt Fire Opal was my original color. But because I'm going to do a sunset sky, and again, don't have a lot of colors to choose from, I needed something a little darker. So I started playing around, and I made this one. What I did is I took a little bit of my golden and a little bit of the violet, mixed those two together, which kind of gave me a little bit of a purpley red color, and I put just a little tiny bit in here. I mean, just say if this is 5 ounces of my original color, I put maybe 1/8 of an ounce of that color mixed together. It does not take much to change your color. And then I had to make sand. So what I did with this one is I mixed every one of these colors together, but just a little bit, just a tiny little bit of each one of these colors, and then added the white, and I got this beautiful sand color. So it's sand, not mud. But again, you can make just about any color you want, and maybe, like I said, maybe I'll do a video on making other colors from like weird colors. So again, what I'm going to do, clean all this out of the way. I'm going to put down my 3 base coats, which again are just from slop buckets that are like colors. So let me get that done to not take up too much space, and I'll be right back again. Okay, I have got my base coat down. You're probably looking at it going, what in the world is that? But I'm going to insert a picture up here. I'm going to try, not all sunsets are all the orange and gold and sometimes pink, which you're going to see. There's blue in the higher part of it. So I'm going to insert a picture that I took, and I'm going to try to recreate that. But again, these are just slop bucket leftovers. So I'm going to start with this part right here, this guy. I'm going to start with that, and we're just going to do like a ribbon pour.
People knew her by her will, to make it whatever she put her mind to. Late night hours up the hill, serving coffee to strangers, talking about revenue. She kept dreaming of a world big enough for everyone, but she knew it must rain before it grows. She kept dreaming of the day butterflies survived the wheel, even though she got knocked down and never showed. Dear Lily, where'd you go? Where's your heart at? Why'd you fall back? Lately your afterglow is shining bright.
Okay, I'm going to pop back in here really quick because I've got the top part of my sky, the sunset of my sky. Now we're going to do the ocean. And for that, I'm going to do a flip cup. I'm going to pour the dark, and I may do, even though it's a smaller space, I may do a couple of flip cups. Okay, that's not smart to fill my cup over my painting. But I'm just going to add all of the blues to this, but I'm going to keep this one a little darker than, say, the bottom part of my cup, if that makes sense. My next cup.
Waking up in an easy egg. I remember her in songs, decades old, but it doesn't matter. Stumble across old memories, try to recall before they all shatter. She kept dreaming of a world big enough for everyone, but she knew it must rain before it grows. She kept dreaming of the day butterflies survived the wheel, even though she got knocked down and never showed. Dear Lily, where'd you go? Where's your heart at? Why'd you fall back lately?
Okay. I kept playing so much, I totally forgot to give you guys a quick little flyover. of the wet results, but there it is, wet. I think the sunset in the sky turned out really pretty. Still have to go back and fix my horizon, and I can't decide, where's my finger, if I like all these bubbles or not, but I didn't want to mess them up. So once it's dry, if I'm not crazy about them, I will fix them. But for now, that's the stage that we're at. And again, I will decide once it's dry if I'm still going to paint a tree here, or if my beach ended up too small to warrant a little tree. Kind of looks like mountains back here, so I might do something there instead. We'll see. Anyway, hang tight. When it's dry, we'll come back and decide what we're going to do from there. So, see you in a minute. Okay guys, we are back for the last and final part. I've got my little tile over here, and I made this beautiful, I don't know, brownish bronze color, just again from pulling in these colors, the QNAG, the Paynes gray, and that violet. So I think what I'm gonna do is put you guys to some music, but I'm going to do a quick little brush work. I've already added a few little clouds up here. I'm going to fix my horizon line. I think I'm going to do just a little tree back in here. My beach got too small to do a tree, so I don't know, I might do some little grasses here or something, and then fix my waves a little bit. But I want to speed you up, put you some music, and then you'll see the final result once it's dry. So enjoy.
We're going under, and there's nothing we can do. You've become me, and I've become you in this story. It's such a heartbeat pounding in your chest. The final hour before we let it go to rest. And in our story, and our story, if you make no promise, there's no regret. It's over by the time you finish your cigarette. We're so into blue skies, but we don't hear the thunder. We're dreaming about the past, but going under. We're going under. All for the better, we turn and walk away. All for the better, at least that's what they say. And now it's over, and now it's over. Wish we had done this, wish we had done that. Wait another minute and you're just a silhouette. So into blue skies, but we don't hear the thunder. Dreaming about the past, but going under. We're going
All right, here is the final result. So thank you guys so much for joining me and sticking with me through this little mini series. I'm so super excited about the next one. Again, I don't want to give anything away, but it's probably still my favorite technique. And we're going to be using these exact same colors again, thin them down. That video will not be nearly as long as this one. I knew this one was going to be a little bit longer of a video because there's just, you know, so many steps to it, but I'm happy with the way it turned out. I wasn't going to make this land too, but I ended up doing that. So sort of like I've got like this little mountain range back here, and I wasn't going to put a tree over here, but it just sort of looked like that's the actual sun finally setting behind that one last little tree. And then just did a couple little trees over here. And then I left the bubbles. I did a few little waves and, you know, darker areas, and that sort of looks like two little dolphins to me. And then just some little seagrass down here. I really like the way that turned out, but I'm sorry this video was so long. I really hope you guys stuck it out with me. If you did, I'm so appreciative, more than you can even imagine. So like I said, the next one will not be as long as this one, but stick around. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. Thank you so much for all of you that have subscribed recently. I'm blown away. So I hope that I continue to make art that, you know, intrigues you, excites you, hopefully maybe even teaches you a little something here or there. But thank you for subscribing. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and if you have any questions at all, as always, just leave them down in the comment section and I will be more than happy to answer them. Again, thank you for being here, and until next time, bye friends.